chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby. I'm in my zone. I'm feeling it.
Live from Rock Solid Studios in Granite Falls, it's time for MinneZona Sports, live with DJ Matty C. and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back again for another show, episode 14, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to be great. But without further ado, I should introduce myself. I am DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Callie, a.k.a. Matty C, etc., 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 etc. And we welcome our co-host from Woods and Shores Studios in Aiken, Paul Vold, the Shield. What's going on, Shield?
Not a whole lot, just dealing with some technical issues, trying to get the show shared on the socials medias, and luckily enough got that going. It is a gorgeous day from the Woods and Shore Studios in Aiken, ready to go for a great show tonight.
Yeah, we just had claps too, just so you know, Voldy, I know you can't hear it. Eventually, we'll have it so you can hear it. We'll
some way, somehow, we'll get it working.
Yeah. Maybe the zoners know. I don't know.
Maybe.
So, we got a couple things we got to talk about first. Well, actually, one thing before we start our tater tot hot take. But, I mean, we got big news.
Huge.
And
huge news.
This is, and no, it is not another celebrity chiming into the zone, even though you never know who might
who knows
come to us here. So, anyway, we were talking about this when we started the show. We didn't know that the show would get this big this fast, right? And now there's this one thing that we've been thinking about, and it's come into fruition here, Voldy and our fellow zoners. So I would like a drum roll, please, from you, Voldy, and myself. Get ready. This is for everyone. Hey! We have Zona merch, people. Check it out. It looks fantastic. And we have to thank none other than the Shield's father, Jimbo Vold. And who else, by the way, Voldy?
Yes, we got to give a big thank you to Pro Image Promotions and Apparel in Rochester, and including Steve Prigge, who runs the operation over at Pro Image. Been a big help with any projects that myself and Jimbo have come up with the T-shirt designs for years, at least a solid decade worth. But Pro Image Promotions and Apparel is going to help us out. We got T-shirts being printed up not only for us here at the show, but for also you, the loyal zoners as well. They're going to be coming up here very soon.
I mean, these look fantastic. And I believe they're dry fit, right?
Yes. Billy? Yes, that is the word on the street.
So we have T-shirts ready to go for you guys, okay? Need me one of them, Jimbo? I'm just down the street, LOL. No, I'm sure you'll get it, Victor, right away.
Absolutely. Victor's got it all straightened out.
So we'll give more details on that here soon. But we just wanted to let our fellow zoners know that they're coming. And you can tell myself, Voldy, the Kerf Doctor, if you want one, we'll mark your name down. We'll figure out, all the details, what your size is and everything like that. I mean, this is great. I can't wait to get mine. And I'm sure you can't wait, Voldy. Our creative consultant, I'm sure, is pretty excited as well.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, zoners, you're going to love it. Okay? And this is what we're going to do too. When you get your shirt, finally, and we'll talk about this down the road, but we will, when you get your shirt, you take a photo of it. We'll post it on our Zona page, okay? It's going to be great. I cannot wait for people to check out the apparel. I mean, look at this. Everyone's all chiming in here. Love the apparel, guys. I'm going to need one in XL. This is fantastic.
Don't worry, Marsh. We got you covered. We'll get you straightened away.
We got you. So, without further ado, Voldy, we got to get to a segment that we usually start off with, and it's in the oven. I'm taking it out right now.
Immerse yourself.
Tater tot hot take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
Oh, man. We got so many people chiming in. I mean, Easy A wants one. We got other people wanting some more. I mean, Voldy, these are going to sell like hotcakes, all right?
They're going to go crazy. I mean, they're going to go quicker than we can get them printed out. Fantastic. Love it.
You have to. You have to love it. So we got trademark pending from our creative consultant as well. Yes. We got to make sure that we got to get it trademarked and ready to go. So
Tater Tot Hot Take, yes.
Yeah, it is hot. It's hot. And we're talking Nick says we need one in a baby size. Yes, I need to get my goddaughter a shirt, and she'll love it. She'll
absolutely a little baby onesie. It'll be adorable.
Baby Emma. Yes. We will make sure we get that. So, anyway, our first Tater Tot Hot Take is about Vikings because, Voldy, the Vikings had one heck of a draft over the weekend, and they set the record for how many picks they got.
Crazy.
Slick Rick at it again, as I like to say. So picks on picks on picks. And there were a lot of picks, and one of them being our first round pick, number 22, Justin Jefferson. Let's go! I'm so stoked for Justin Jefferson being on the Minnesota Vikings, and people are like, "Well, he's going to be a perfect to replace Diggs." Well, you know, there's two different guys. We haven't seen him play a down yet. Okay, let's remember the last wide receiver we drafted in the first round, Voldy. I know you know who I'm talking about here, but I like what I see. The guy is a proven winner, and at LSU, played with Joe Burrow.
He did.
I'm telling you what, watch out, because with Thielen, Justin Jefferson, Rudy, Irv Smith, Cook, B.C. Johnson. Let's go, Skull Vikes, baby. So
it's gonna be an air raid, is what it's gonna be.
Yeah, it might be.
It's gonna be nasty. Let's not forget the running game that really picked things up this past season for the Vikings. They're no slouches themselves. We don't put up some yards this year with the Vikings. I mean, there's a lot of else things going on, but I look at that first pick, Justin Jefferson. You go after a guy that wasn't even a recruit coming out of high school.
Yep.
0-star high school recruit, goes to LSU, proves himself in the slot, a little bit on the outside as well this past year, and mainly proven right in the slot receiving position, wins a national championship, set the single season record for most receptions for LSU. I mean, what's not to like? What's not to like? This is a great pick. Of course, we could rewind this 5-6 years ago. The same thing with Laquan Treadwell. Let's just hope it's a better end result for the Vikings.
Right. And this guy was supposed to go earlier in the draft.
Yes.
Why did he fall? I don't know. But
I don't know.
The pick before the Vikings, the Eagles were the team before the Vikings, and they picked Jalen Rieger. And
But they did.
here's where it's it got complicated because Jefferson was on the phone, and the Eagles were on the phone too. So I was like, oh, darn it. The Vikings missed out on Justin Jefferson. But then I find out that it was somebody else. So I was like, whoa, what is going on here?
Right?
So Slick Rick was on it right before they even made their pick. I mean, it's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. But again, you got to go. There's people talking about O-line. Oh, trust me. We're going to get to O-line.
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it, okay? But he was the best guy available at that point. And you got to pull the trigger on it. And Slick Rick, Mike Zimmer, and the Vikings organization did that. And it's going to be a really good offense. They addressed some great knees. What was the surprise? I missed it.
Better late than never.
Well, we'll get to you. I'll have you rewind back the show. No, anyway, we got shirts coming out, Tyler. MinneZona Sports Live. Make sure you mark yourself down for one. But anyway, but back to Jefferson. Do I think? I let Nick chimed in here saying, do we think that Jefferson can fill Diggs' shoes? Yes, and I'll tell
I
you
think
why.
so too. Yeah, definitely.
Because this guy looks like he's coming into work and he's going to work his tail off. And he's already he said, Kirk, let's go win a Super Bowl. Okay. Now, not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl. But this is something that you want to see from your first round pick. Hanging out, like talking with Kirk Cousins, talking with Adam Thielen. This is perfect for Justin Jefferson. He is in a great place, a great organization, great players. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. So I think that Justin Jefferson will make a huge impact starting week 1. I really believe it. And I think he'll definitely fill the need at wide receiver. So, Voldy, what do you think about it?
I really like the pick right off the bat with Justin Jefferson, really setting the tone that, hey, this is the direction we want to go. We want to build this offense. We want to be able to set the tone right off the bat. We want to get a guy that Kirk Cousins can build some continuity with, and not just guys that have been here before, that have gone through the ringer with 2-3 other quarterbacks of the past. And get a young guy who's proven himself at the highest level in one of the power conferences, one of the top programs in the country that still runs similarly to an NFL team, maybe half a step down from, say, like Alabama or something like that. But you get a guy like that in the first round, and hopefully it pans out well. But I definitely like it at pick number 22. Right. You get a guy who is going to be easily a top, at least a top 15 pick, and he falls back to number 22, and the Vikings were able to swoop him up.
Right. And now, new number 2, we have Thielen, Tajay Sharp, BC Johnson. I mean, the wide receiver core is looking pretty good. Okay?
That it is.
And people are already saying it was a great pick. So we love Jefferson. And also, another announcement, just a small announcement, but DJ Matty C has a Justin Jefferson jersey coming into him here soon. So
Let's go.
Gonna be
Nice.
sweet. So we're going to – I don't know if I'll have it next show, Voldy, but maybe the show after. So
Right.
hopefully we get it. But I think he will be. Yeah, I agree, Tyler. I mean, they say he may be the most impactful rookie. Let's see what happens. I'm pretty stoked.
Let's see.
But also, Voldy, the Vikings made another pick. And at what position was that? Well, none other than corner, because Zim, what number is he? 18. 18, Tyler. It's kind of cool. I kind of like that.
I like it too.
Moss was 18 in the preseason before he was 84, obviously.
That's right.
But, yeah.
That is right. Sidney Rice, number
Sidney,
18 back in the day.
Yeah.
Yep.
So a lot of famous Vikings that were number 18. So without further ado, the cornerback that they selected was Jeff Gladney, cornerback, TCU. Okay. At number 31, the Vikings traded with, I believe, San Fran, and they moved back to 31, and they got Jeff Gladney. And I tell you what, this guy is a perfect Zimmer cornerback, Voldy, and he's going to fit right in, and he's going to start too. I guarantee you, he'll be starting week 1 alongside Mike Hughes. So let's start with you, Voldy. What do you think about Jeff Gladney?
Yeah, I definitely like the pick right off with the Vikings, of course, going after a little bit of help in the defensive secondary. They say that, he was a little bit undersized and he just wasn't quite, the prototypical what you wanted to see at the corner position. But he's a coverage guy. You want a guy that's want to get up on some receivers, maybe jam them and try to, work the hands a little bit. And that's what you wanted. And I have no complaints. I definitely like the move by, Spielman and crew to move back and, wait to see if Gladney was going to still be available. Moving back just 6 spots against San Fran. Apparently they wanted to move up and get their guy. And I mean, no complaints on my end with going after Jeff Gladney.
Right. And he is a scrappy guy. I looked at a lot of his highlights and, according to Mel Kiper Jr. too, you probably know, the zoners probably know him too, but he said that he had an early day 2 grade for him. But honestly, looking at a lot of his highlights, and yes, we haven't seen any of his weaknesses. It's not like you're going to have lowlights on YouTube, but he, to me, looked like a first-round pick. And I think Spielman, a.k.a. Slick Rick, and Zimmer get another scrappy corner. And this guy, is going to make plays. And he kind of reminds me a little bit of Antoine Winfield Sr. He's a guy, I've seen some pretty nice tackling from Jeff Gladney. I've seen some nice pass breakups. Hey, watch out. We might have a pretty good corner on our hands. And he, again, him alongside Mike Hughes, hopefully Mike Hughes can continue to develop. I mean, obviously, this isn't going to be something to where he's going to be just fantastic. But I think that Jeff Gladney can be impactful rookie as well. I mean, defense is something that, that the Vikings wanted to focus on because they lost a lot of their veteran players in free agency. Linval Joseph, Xavier, guys like that. And then we have Nick chiming in here. The benefit of the first, I lost it. But we'll get it back here. I was there for a second, but
it was.
I was
up kind of late.
I had to have been quicker than that. Oh, there we go. Oh, Kerf Doctor's out. The benefit of a late first and way early second is the Vikes have a 5th-year option. Exactly.
There it is.
That is the key thing there. So, anyway, our first-round picks look pretty good. We're going to go to our second-round picks. Our second-round pick, I should say, excuse me. Ezra Cleveland. We finally go O-line. A lot of people were wondering why the heck the Vikings didn't go O-line. There's claps going on right now, Goldie. And you know why there was claps is because of the guy sitting next to me. There was O-line. And we are going to get a soundbite from the Kerf Doctor of him saying, O-line, 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 O-line. I need more O-line! So, yeah, you have to. No, you're not wrong, Kerf Doctor. You're really not. But, again, this is a guy that reminds me of Brian O'Neill. And I think they can develop him into a pretty good player. I don't know how they're going to do this. If they blow him away at training camp, therefore, if there is training camp at this point, but if they can develop him and put him at left tackle, because we all know Riley Reif isn't going to be there forever, okay? Especially after what happened last year, but, there's a lot of factors, especially that there were reports that the Vikings were trying to make a deal for #free the silverback, Trent Williams as well, Voldy.
Yeah, that didn't work out too well.
Right. So I wouldn't say it's a huge loss because they get a younger guy. He can develop. He got him in the second round. I mean, he's not bad, Voldy. So I got to say, I think if they want to put him at left right away, I don't know. But unless they want to keep Reef there and then keep Elfline at left guard as well, I think that's another thing that they can look at. But Ezra Cleveland, I think, is going to be a guy that they're going to start to develop. He's probably going to be their left tackle unless they switch O'Neal to left, put him at right. I mean, there's so many combinations we can go through. But I think this is a really good pick. It's a good value pick. And I think there's going to be some development. And I think he needs to get a little stronger. But, again, Brian O'Neal, same deal. So, Voldy, what do you think about Ezra Cleveland?
Yeah, 6'6", 311 pounds at a Boise State. Started 3 years, played right in front of a guy by the name of Alexander Madison, who is with the Vikings now. Some guy, some scrub. I don't know. He'll probably get cut next year or something. But a massive human being, as Tyler has commented here this evening. I like it. At the left side, that's going to be a very young side if they throw him at the left tackle position. I think that's going to be where he's going to have to make his bread and butter right away. Of course, he's got a couple of young guys to kind of lean upon as well. Of course, Pat Elflein at that left guard spot is going to be some big growing pains. And, even at the center spot as well, that's going to be, something that's, last season was pretty steady for the most part. There were a couple of hiccups on the road, but that's to be expected, especially with the rookie center and even, Pat Elflein going from center to left guard. There were some jumps in the road that were fallen upon, but as the season moved along, everybody got more comfortable, and I think it's going to be the same with Ezra Cleveland if he does get that left tackle starting job. Who knows? That's what training camp is for.
Exactly. And Elfline struggled. Okay, he really did. And the thing is, we got to see improvement because a lot of Vikings fans are not sold on the fact of him at left guard.
Yeah.
But I will say, one of our zoners chimed in, I think it was Victor, saying that O'Neal needs to stay on the right. And I agree, too, because
definitely.
I think there was talk that they were thinking of maybe moving him left. I wasn't a huge fan of it because I think he has done a fantastic job at right tackle. Keep him there. I think. So, anyway, I want to get to one more thing here. Voldy, we have draft grades, okay?
Yes.
I'm going to start with mine, and then we're going to go to yours. We have a bonus draft grade, and I think people know,
which way we're going here.
Yeah.
Or do they?
Or do they? We don't know. So, if the Kerf Doctor brings up my draft grade, nice. All right. I give the Vikings an A because, first of all, they had how many picks? 15, right?
15
picks. They got a lot of good guys. And I got to say, you look at Cleveland, you look at Cameron Dantzler, you look at DJ Wanham, watch out for him, okay? Because this guy reminds some people of Danielle Hunter, okay? And what has Zim done with Danielle Hunter? Made him into one of the best DNs in the NFL, okay?
Exactly.
So watch out for DJ Wanham, okay? And then James Lynch, another guy that they got to help the middle there with losing Linval. This guy's another. He holds, okay, listen to this, Foldy. All-time career leader in sacks at Baylor, okay? This guy is really good, okay?
Yeah.
Hey, Slick Rick at it again, okay? I mean, this is really good. And then Troy Dye, a guy from Oregon, inside linebacker. More corners, of course. Harrison Hand. A lot of good value on top of the quality or quantity. Spielman says, why not both?
Love it.
Exactly. Stamp of approval there, but we'll get to that. KJ Osborne, a guy that I think will help. And Jimbo chiming in here. Slick Rick has stockpiled 12 picks already for next year. Slick Rick.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
Cha-ching. Let's go. And then also, I kind of correlate this to Jimbo because Jimbo has correlated a lot of MinneZona shirts as well. And jerseys.
That he did. Top way.
Gotta love it. So, Voldy, your draft grades for the Vikings and the Patriots.
Yes.
Ayo.
There it is. I mean, what's not to like about what the Vikings did? 15 picks, four of them in the seventh round.
Yep.
Getting some quality guys, especially in the middle rounds. Fourth round, I thought, was where the Vikings made their biggest impact. DJ Wanham and then James Lynch. Two guys very similar. You got DJ Wanham on the outside, like we'd been talking about, very similar to a Danielle Hunter. And then you got James Lynch out of Baylor, who I kind of liken to the likes of, a guy who could be on the inside, maybe work his way to the out, kind of similar to a Brian Robinson. We all know how much I love Brian Robinson.
On the job with B-Rob.
Exactly, with the catch of the day. James Lynch was a huge pick with number 130 in the NFL draft. Troy Dye as well, not a bad pickup at the inside linebacker position. Be a nice complimentary piece if he does get to the field, the likes of Kendricks and also Barr as well. Then you throw in guys like you throw in Josh Metellus out of Michigan, another D end. Kenny, is it Wilkes? Wilkes?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
We'll go with that in the seventh round. I mean, that was a seventh round pick. You're getting a D end out of Michigan State. Perfect. Yes, Andrew on top of it with 96 questions. Fantastic. Love it. Yeah. Love it. But that's what I really liked about what the Vikings did with their draft. Now, the Patriots on the other side, a lot of question marks. This offseason not been very kind to the Patriots. Of course, they let go their kicker. They also let go the likes of, a whole bunch of their defense, which either went to former Belichick disciples in Detroit or in Miami. You use your first pick in the draft, number 37, second round, Kyle Duggar out of Division II Lenore Rhine. What? Who? Where? How? Whom? Although I give props, 2019 Cliff Harris Award winner, which is the Small College Heisman Award winner, even as a safety at linebacker size, he was returning kicks and punts. That's the Belichick motive right there. You find a guy. Oh, Joe Bag of Donuts at a Little Sisters of the Poor University, and you just get a home run with your first pick. They do draft a couple of tight ends, Devin Asiasi, Dalton Keene, not a couple of bad picks in the third round, and you get a kicker who's already got some controversy in Justin Rohrwasser at a Marshall, and then you pick up a few, offensive linemen in the later rounds. Didn't draft a quarterback. They kept saying it literally every time. As soon as watching the draft, Trey Wingo was going to say, is this going to be the round? The Patriots going to draft a quarterback. They didn't. So that's why it's a B- and not, like a B+ or an A-. You got to plan for the future, and apparently they're putting all their chips in on the future with it being Jarrett Stidham.
Oh, boy. It's going to be interesting. This is a Belichick. I feel like this is a classic Belichick move. Just kind of like, they're going to take a QB. No, we're not going to take a QB. No, they're not. So, but that's how Belichick. Yeah.
For all we know, it was Nike Belichick making all the picks in the first couple of rounds. Bill Belichick's dog, for those who haven't seen that go viral.
Yeah, that's true. It did go viral. But I saw a couple of zoners chime in, and Antoine Winfield Jr., Tyler Johnson, they're Buccaneers. Why did this happen?
Wow.
Both of them to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with TFB, Rob Gronkowski, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
I was hoping the Vikings would pull the trigger on one of them, but I'm bummed.
Let's rewind it a week ago. What did I say? Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to win the AFC South. That's how they do it. With picks like that. I was keeping track of the Buccaneers, too. I mean, they go after offensive lineman Tristan Wirfs in the first round. Then they get Winfield. They get Keyshawn Vaughn out of Vanderbilt in the third round. Then they get Tyler Johnson. It was a pretty good. It was a light draft for them. They ended up with 7 picks, but they made the most out of those picks.
Bruce Arians, I tell you what, he's one heck of a coach, man. So is Gruden, man. But exactly. Another thing, too, I mean, this is going to be an interesting NFC South, Voldy. I mean, with the Aints, which, more on that, by the way. And, this was an interesting draft. I mean, we say this every year, but Tyler, who took Tua?
Are you living in a barn? Where
In a van down by the river?
had been in the sand for the past week?
Can you do you have internet?
Uh,
Tua went to the Dolphins, my friend.
Dolphins.
Yeah, the Fins. Okay. But anyway, I think this is a
It's
perfect
down.
segue to move on. So, anyway, Voldy, it's time for Voldy's virtues. We haven't done it in a while, so
Yes.
let's get it rolling.
He has emerged from the Temple of Wisdom. Gather round for Voldy's virtues.
All right, gather around, people. Voldy's going to hit us with some wisdom.
Well, we all got to start off with the fact that we are reaching the point of what are we watching on TV. We've probably gone through at least 2 or 3 times our favorite show every season, top to bottom, just to kill time.
90 Day.
90 Day Fiance, fantastic. I did watch The Last Dance, 1 episode on Monday, 1 episode yesterday. Fantastic. Looking forward. Segue with The Last Dance, and you're reading the title of this lower third, What If I Told You? Now, that's a very popular line from a little bit of a franchise known as ESPN 30 for 30. And I want to open this up to the zoners here because I want to get a little bit of help from you. What should be the next 30 for 30? Give me a topic that you really like. That would be a great 30 for 30. I've come up with 5.
Yes.
If you can see all my fingers here, I've got 5 of them. Maybe we'll go down here. There we go.
Oh, perfect.
Got 5. 5 that I just quick right off the top of my head and is something that's, kind of been simmering for a little bit. The first one off the top of my head that I came up with, of course, something that's been burning the sports world for a few months. It's kind of died off, but Antonio Brown. The space from when he left the Pittsburgh Steelers to when it all came crash, when he got released by the Patriots and everything after that. The aftermath, the fallout with the Steelers, signing with the Raiders, getting let go by the Raiders, the allegations that were later dropped, going to the Patriots, and then getting released by the Patriots a week later. Everything after that is just the weirdest 5 to 6 month time range that anybody has seen in sports in the last 5-10 years. And to answer Tyler's question, I am fine. I just don't feel so good right now, Mr. Stark.
Well, here's the thing. Voldy has the Skype background. Okay, so this is Skype doing it.
Yes.
But it looks great nonetheless. And
I mean, I could just go bare background and you can see the wall that's behind me and then the chair I'm sitting in. But
see the wall? I mean, pick your...
But we make do with what we've got.
Yes, exactly.
A couple other topics that I've been thinking about would make, maybe somewhat decent 30 for 30s, and they're not all going to be like The Last Dance or other ones like that. Talking about Sochi. The 2014 Winter Olympics were also another crazy sports experience. You see the likes of how everything just kind of fell apart with, of course, some of the great events that happened. We all know the historic shootout with USA and Russia in the Olympic hockey games as well. You get the craziness of basically Olympic athletes living in like unfinished prisons with wild dogs running down the hallways, no internet, barely any electricity, and it was like a third world country inside a third world country. That's how bad it was. Getting that firsthand experience from American athletes, Canadian athletes, well-known athletes that, spent years training to get to this moment only to be treated like it was, AAU basketball or something, just living out of a crusty motel, working in a cramped gym for, 7 games in 2 days or something like that.
Right.
And that, I feel like that one would be good just from the fact that it would be crazy to see and hear some of the stories, because we all remember, I mean, it was only 6 years ago. It feels like a lifetime, but, going back and seeing some of the photos and some of the, the social media posts about it would be just crazy to hear about now that people, going back and people losing their luggage on their way back, haven't even gotten it back, and it's been 6 years now since those Winter Olympics. Would be another great 30 for 30 to have.
Yes.
Another one that I had, it's been something that's bugging me, and don't let the jersey and the hat fool you. We're talking about basketball right now. It's the invention and the formation of super teams. We all know the big three, including the big ticket with the Boston Celtics,
Yes, sir.
the big three in Miami, LeBron, Wade, and Chris Bosh, and of course the guys down out in Golden State. Everybody, basically, instead of doing it on their own, coming together, how that has affected not only basketball, but also everything surrounding basketball, the NBA itself, and, creating these super teams of guys that were pretty good on their own with one team, then going with another team to join up with 2 or 3 other guys to kind of rebuild a franchise or something. Houston right now with Russell Westbrook and also James Harden down there trying to be that next big super team. That would be another interesting topic to try to cover with a 30 for 30. Could probably make it a couple hours, see how far back these alleged super teams go, even far back in the 90s, of course, with the Bulls, the 80s with the Celtics and the Lakers, and who knows, even further back than that, just to see how far this could quite possibly be with these supposed, big three super teams and things of that sort. Another one that I had is something that goes into something that I'm a little familiar with, but not too familiar with. We're talking about NHL. That's right. NHL, hockey, the video game as well. It transcends the sport of hockey itself. Ask anybody, people that are not even hockey fans will play, NHL, EA Sports NHL, or 2K, whatever it is, the popular video game. I'm not a video game guy, never have been one, just to see how that would kind of, be recognized universally. A lot of guys playing. Exactly. You're one of them. Another one would be like FIFA.
Yeah.
A lot of people play FIFA.
A lot of people do.
And I'm not going to fight them on that.
Right.
A lot of people, not a lot of big soccer fans. Even the soccer fans, play a little FIFA on their, their gaming console of the day or whatever it is nowadays that these stinking kids are playing with their video games.
Well, Voldy, before you go on to your next one, we've got a couple zoners chiming in. Astro scandal.
Yes, that'd be a good one.
That would be a very good one.
Obviously, not something that, you want to see maybe 5-10 years down the road.
Right.
A lot of these topics are going to be some that you're going to want to look back on, 5-10 years after the fact. I mean, there are some good ones. I did like the one that Nick brought up with the Browns moving to Baltimore. They did kind of answer that a little bit with, was it the Believe Land one where they had
Cleveland? Yeah.
Just a little bit. They didn't touch on it like, that was the only one.
Right.
But they did touch on it a little bit, but a full one like that, or the NFL merger is a good one too that Nick brought up. XFL Part 2, yes, that's got to happen because we know that it's going to be even more wild than it was the first time around. Fantastic.
Well, Vince got sued too, so I mean,
he did. Oliver Luck ain't playing around.
Yeah, he isn't playing around. And then Tyler had best big three around. Apparently, myself, Court Hansen, and Tyler. I don't know what that. Intramural basketball? Are we talking? I mean, it was fun. I mean, I wouldn't call us a big three. I would just say we just played basketball. I don't know what Tyler started. So you have one more, I believe, Voldy.
I do have one more. One that I think it would be just great entertainment overall. The last days of Alex Ovechkin. Him in the NHL. Early on in his career, he was a wild man. Crazy all over the ice, on the ice, off the ice. Be fantastic to see, documenting his last few games in the NHL. Who knows? Maybe he'll end his career with the Stanley Cup again. That'd be great to see. Have another summer of Ovi because that was just great to see when they won the Stanley Cup, and he partied all the way until next season.
Yeah, I would like to see something like that. You know what would be an interesting one? I don't know if it would be a full-length documentary, but I want to give my. But first of all, Voldy, I like your top. The Antonio Brown one, that will be fantastic if they ever decide to do that. But another one, Jimmy Butler and the Timberwolves. Okay.
That'd be a good one.
I
Yeah.
think that one would be very interesting because it might not be a full length one because it was only for a year and then it was, there was drama going on and fizzled out. But I want to know what was going on behind the scenes. And yeah, we've had snippets of it here and there. But if you take, for 1 second, anything that comes out of Jimmy Butler's mouth seriously, don't believe him. Okay? Because I want to get down to the facts about this. And shout out Will Rattel because I know he's a big Wolves fan. But
Yes, sir.
I want to know why this happened. What in the world caused Jimmy Butler to just all of a sudden go rogue on the Wolves? I mean, was it a combination of Glenn Taylor? Was it a combination of Tom Thibodeau? I don't know. I want to know. That's the thing, Voldy. And then maybe, another one to think about too, I don't think they'd ever do this. Like Diggs, cryptic tweets.
Right.
Why he left Minnesota. But I think that'd be like an ESPN featured type of story.
One of those E60s
Yeah,
or something
E60,
like
yeah.
Some of these topics have been kind of covered a little bit with like E60, but giving it the full justice of maybe like a 2 hour 30 for 30 would be great. Victor also brought up one too, the NHL coming back to the state of hockey.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good one too.
That would
Definitely.
be very good.
Everything going behind that, leaving then the 7 or 8 year absence there was without the North Stars going into the Minnesota Wild and how it's happened ever since.
And they can talk about how big of a piece of crap Norm Green was. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would be an interesting one. So I think we covered all of our zoners chiming in here, Voldy, and especially yours. I mean, the Antonio Brown one, I think, is a winner right there, Voldy. So I think I can't wait for that one. And, again, Jimmy Butler, Stephon Diggs, I got to know, man. I got to know. So anyway, without further ado, it's time for everybody's favorite segment. It's called Approved or Absurd or Approved. Yeah, either or.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
So, again, you can call it absurd or approved or absurd. Shout out to Coom Daddy, who made that famous. So, again, fantastic. But, Voldy, without further ado, why don't you rattle them off for us, please?
All right. Well, we kind of do a little bit of a nice transition from talking about 30 for 30s to more sports documentaries. Dwayne Wade says he is being the executive producer of a documentary of the Redeem Team, the 2008 U.S. Olympic men's basketball team that took gold in Beijing. We all know the disappointment that it was in 2004 with that USA basketball team losing to Puerto Rico. And he said it is going to be a 5-part. Of course, they previously, I should say, ESPN aired a 5-part documentary series leading up to the Beijing Games in 2008. But if you look at the story overall, of course, the disappointment of 2004 with Team USA being led by Jerry Colangelo, new managing director, Coach Mike Krzyzewski, and the team of all-stars and greats on this team. Guys as well that aren't even in the league anymore. Of course, you have the greats that were returning from 2004 in the 2006 Worlds, like Kobe Bryant, Chris Paul, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony as well. Just the names of the top guys, and there were some other guys. I think Carlos Boozer was on that team as well. Man. I don't know if he saw much action. And, of course, it came down to the gold medal game with, going up against Spain. That always plays against Team USA very well, with Pau Gasol in his prime and a 17-year-old guy by the name of Ricky Rubio, I think his name was. Don't really know what happened with him. And of course, this coming off the heels of the fact of the late, great Kobe Bryant passing away earlier this year. 2020 has not been kind to the world right now, and I think this would be something to watch. Very reminiscent, quite possibly in the same caliber, maybe not quite the same caliber, I should say, of The Last Dance, but that is yet to be seen at this point. Absurd or Approved, the Redeem documentary, DJ Matty C.
Well, stamp of approval, and I think our zoners would agree with that as well. This is a perfect time to do it. And again, it's not going to be a 10-part documentary like The Last Dance. I mean, The Last Dance is in a different league.
Right.
But with this, you could get a lot out of this because especially the Redeem team needed to win the gold because back in 2004, I remember when I was a kid and I was pissed. I was so pissed. I mean, they should be winning this every stinking year, okay? Because you have the best athletes in the US of A, okay? And I'm glad that Kobe Bryant was on the team, LeBron, D-Wade. I mean, that was a stacked team, okay? Not the Dream Team, because, the Dream Team was amazing. They destroyed
Got
people.
that right.
And that's coming up on Last Dance, I believe.
I believe that's next week, yeah.
Yeah, next week. So that'll be interesting to see. But again, I mean, this is something that they needed to do, and they needed to get the goal, okay? Because there's too much talent in the US of A, okay? They shouldn't be losing to any of these countries because, I mean, just the amount of talent that is in the US of A, I mean, no one could beat them, okay? I mean, obviously, you have Spain, Paul Gasol, Ricky Rubio, but you don't have to worry about Ricky shooting, though, because he'll probably hit a brick, but...
More of a passer.
He was a good passer.
It was one heck of a passer, yes.
He could give out assists, but he had a lot of bricks. But
Yeah,
anyway, Tyler mentioned Dream Team or Redeem Team. Dream Team. Okay.
Dream
Not
Team.
even a
The
question.
Dream Team would absolutely wipe the floor with the Redeem Team because back in the day, they would just murder people out on the
Oh,
floor.
yeah.
I mean, we're talking about, the Jordan rules with the Pistons. That was dirty basketball back in the day. I mean, guys were
Larry
just throwing
Bird.
elbows, they're shoving guys as they're going to the hoop. I mean, it was fantastic to watch. Yeah, I mean, just seeing those highlights. But if it were to happen today, I mean, even seeing some of the, the snippets, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and, the guys, Michael Jordan as well, just talking about that, I mean, those guys would just run circles around the Redeem Team.
They would. I mean, yeah, you have Kobe, Mamba mentality, LeBron James, and everything. But, I mean, the Dream Team, man.
Dream Team.
They're that good. Voldy, what do you think?
Stamp of approval,
Yeah.
100%. This is something that needs to happen because obviously this is a story when it first came out, the Redeem Team in 2008 and, even when they went back to 2012 to win gold as well. I mean, that was something that they set right from the goal. I mean, I remember watching that little ESPN 5-part series talking about that, how serious it was the whole time. I mean, they were living on a boat in Beijing. That's how, they wanted all to be together, focusing, of course, having good time because it's the Olympics.
Right.
You're seeing all the top athletes from across the world, but also focusing on the fact, hey, this is, we're here to do business and we're here to, set the precedent. We don't want to repeat of 4 years ago and taking care of business right off the bat. And it was great to watch that. I mean, not a big basketball guy, but when it comes to the Olympics, I put all out for the Olympics and it's fantastic. It's got my stamp of approval.
Well, Nick mentioned, he said the Redeem Team, but with Redeem Team referees.
Oh, of course. Yeah, everybody would be fouled out on the Dream Team if that were the case.
Yeah, that probably would. All right, next one, Voldy.
All right, we got another one coming out of the NFL draft. Well, 22 years after someone by the name of Randy Moss gets drafted with the 21st pick by the Minnesota Vikings. I don't know. I don't think he worked out too well in purple and gold.
I don't think so.
His son, Thaddeus Moss, goes undrafted, but there's some silver lining and also gathering a little bit of Moss. Did the Washington Redskins signing a undrafted rookie free agent deal with Thad Moss. I mean, obviously, you look at the statistics and the numbers for Thad Moss, nothing really jumps off the page, but, a nice little diamond in the rough that the Washington Redskins did get. Absurd to approve, the Redskins getting a steal, that being Thaddeus Moss.
Well, not a lot of things go well for people in Washington, so I feel bad for Thaddeus Moss. But, I mean, it's got my stamp of approval that he found a team. When you look at the Vikings, Voldy, I know you were bummed about this via the social medias. But, again, the Vikings, they got a lot of tight ends, okay? And if they wanted to get him, that'd be a different story, okay? But it's got my stamp of approval because, again, he's on a team that, he could shine on. But another thing to remember here too, Voldy, he had a foot injury and he had to have surgery. So it kept him from working out at the combine. So
yep.
I think it's interesting to see. People are saying steal. Nick says absurd, but definitely worth a shot. LSU isn't a big tight end passing team. Right. So let's see what he can do, okay? And
Definitely.
Again, I think it would work out better for him, but there's one guy that's not there anymore, Voldy, and that is #Keenum's Keepers, okay? I think he would flourish with Keenum's Keepers, but he's got Dwayne Haskins, so I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
If Dwayne Haskins gets the starting job, which I assume it's going to happen coming out of training camp, it's going to be interesting. They're trying to build a young team. Of course, they had the second overall pick in getting Chase Young on the defensive side, but getting a guy like Thad Moss to kind of revitalize, hopefully that passing game a little bit and kind of get some of these young receivers going. I think it's a heck of a steal of a deal. Of course, the foot injury is of note of concern, but when healthy, see what the young man can do.
And again, Randy Moss, I believe people have heard of him. He is so for this. I remember I think he tweeted out something, congratulating his son and everything like that. I mean, Randy has done a complete 360 and how he's aged and also his maturity too. So he's definitely a guy now where he's putting all that other stuff aside and he's being a dad first. And I mean, watching the LSU win the national championship, the camera was on Moss all the time. So I just wanted to mention that. But Thad Moss with the Washington Redskins, I wish the best of luck to him. But then again, I wish he was on a different team because I think he could flourish somewhere else besides Washington. So, next one, Voldy.
All right, well, we'll finally get to the topic that's been burning at our sides all night long. Well, the New Orleans Saints, or the New Orleans Aints, as DJ Matty C likes to quote, has made a little bit of a splash this past week. I think it was on Monday. It was actually Tuesday that they made the official announcement, signing backup quarterback to be Jameis Winston. Infamous Jameis, base value $1.1 million with a salary and a signing bonus that is equaling to $1.1 million, but he can also earn up to $3.4 million in performance incentives. What do you think of the move, DJ Matty C?
I'm going to look into this camera right here like you did last week, okay? Infamous Jameis going to the New Orleans Aints, okay? First of all, I am so sick of that team, okay? Now, Infamous Jameis is sitting behind Drew Brees, okay? Taysom Hill is also there, okay? This move that they made might help Infamous Jameis. So it's got my stamp of approval, which is surprising, especially for a team like the Aints. Because if for some reason when Drew Brees retires and infamous Jameis somehow beats out Taysom Hill, which probably won't happen, I'm just saying, if somehow he starts for the New Orleans Saints, I don't know what I do. I mean, first of all, hide your crab legs for one. The Publix there has got to watch out for infamous Jameis. He likes his crab legs. But, I mean, it's a good move. It makes sense. He's a backup quarterback to Drew Brees. He can learn under Drew Brees. And, you know, infamous Jameis has some potential, okay? He did throw for over 30 touchdowns last season. Don't forget that. Love the stat. Winston has more career passes caught by the
Saints
than Hill. Right. But again,
this is true.
He threw for 30 plus interceptions. Okay. He's got to find a way to bring that down. And I think I really don't like Sean Payton, but I think Sean Payton can work with him. He did a good job with Teddy Bridgewater, I'll admit. But it's got my stamp of approval. I think infamous Jameis can work with Sean Payton, Drew Brees, and even Taysom Hill. I don't know. He probably will be gone after this year. But infamous Jameis, he's come a long way. He's done some really stupid things. But he is the reason why we have the infamous top 10 list, which is in progress, by the way. We are still working on it. But keep tuned in for that. So it's got my stamp of approval. Voldy, what do you think?
You know, I'm kind of in the same boat, but I'm not really sure which way to go, if it's absurd or approved. I think it's absurd the fact that you, at the same time, not only give a $1.1 million deal to a guy who's most likely not going to play, but then at the same time, you sign your backup quarterback who's also a halfback, a returner, the water boy, a tight end, shines shoes, ties cleats, signs the checks. He does everything. Taysom Hill does everything.
He does.
You give him $21 million for 2 years. And I find that very confusing. Which direction are you trying to go? I mean, if you're not going to go, if you're Jameis Winston, to the New England Patriots to, learn how to be a quarterback, you might as well go to the second best thing and learn from Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. Very heavy offensive team. I think it's a proof of the fact that they're going to go that direction and try to at least make him, shine him up really good to maybe get him a couple-year deal after this season. But as I always like to say, you can polish a turd all you want. At the end of the day, still a turd. And I'm not saying Jameis Winston is a turd, but he's getting there. I mean, sometimes you call a spade. Sometimes you got to call him a whole deck of cards.
There you go. Well said, Voldy. But you remember, he had to eat a W one time, so I think that's another thing to remember. And my brother-in-law, Nick Vandenplas, knows that very well. So I'm glad he's gone from infamous Jameis to Tom Brady. Okay, so it's all good there. But I agree with you, Voldy. I think it's kind of a weird deal over in New Orleans. But then again, I could care less.
Exactly.
All right.
Who knows? Maybe this will just corrupt the whole system and they'll just crumble upon themselves. Who knows?
Yeah. I will tell the Zoners, as long as Sean Payton and Drew Brees are on the Aints, I will never like them. Okay?
Exactly.
Next one, Voldy.
Well, we go here finally with our last one for this evening.
Yes.
We're talking about a little bit of professional sports, women's professional sports, talking about Diana Taurasi, one of the greatly respected women's sports athletes out there, a veteran guard with the Phoenix Mercury, also does great things for Team USA. She called out ownership for women's professional sports for wealthy women, quoted as saying this past week, if I can get the quote here in front of me, where are the rich women? She said, I'm so disappointed in the women that have a lot of money. Sometimes you invest in things that don't make money yet, but you want to make them better. Diana Taurasi calling out, the wealthy women of the world to not only invest in women's professional sports, but also join in the ownership ranks as well to make women's professional sports better. Diana Taurasi was joined along the sides with Seattle Storm guard Sue Bird, and of course USA Soccer star Megan Rapinoe as well. And is something that is something that's been a hot topic, not recently, but quite a few years as well. The fact that women's sports obviously doesn't get the same respect as men's professional sports, but trying to call out and get more investments from wealthy women to women's professional sports. How do you like the route that Diana Taurasi took? Is it absurd or approved?
Stamp of approval. 100%. And I'm looking at some of Nick says Oprah should own a team. And she probably
absolutely
could. She probably
Chicago
could.
Sky.
Yeah. There's a quote that Diana said here, Voldy, too. Everyone is like, do you want to be a coach? Do you want to be a GM? No, Taurasi said, I want to effing own it. Yeah. I mean, if she's that serious about it, yeah,
absolutely.
I think she definitely would, and I think she'd be fantastic. And I think, a lot of I mean, this is something that not only in the WNBA, but, this is something that is transcending the world of sports a little bit because – I mean, the WNBA is popular. It is very popular. I mean, the Minnesota Lynx, Los Angeles Sparks, the list goes on. There are so many good teams on there, and the NBA players are always supporting it. WNBA, it's a great relationship between the NBA and the WNBA. But for her to want to go to ownership, you're setting your goals high, and I think she could do it. Especially with her name. She's going to turn 38 in June, but again, she can still ball.
No, she can.
She really can. And I think we got to look at this and say, there's got to be more of this. Okay, there's got to be more. Especially. It's not just that men can own teams; women can own teams too. Okay. There's a lot of powerful people, and I applaud this for her. And then Will Rattel says, love the Celtics gear, by the way. Yeah, it's pretty snazzy, I'd like to say, too.
I'll have to bust out the North Dakota gear next week for you, Will.
Bingo. So, but yeah, it's got my stamp of approval. Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, I really like this route, and sometimes you gotta throw a shot across the bow, and it might as well be one of the top stars in the WNBA, who's been one of the top stars for quite a few years in Diana Taurasi. Of course, she does play a lot overseas. That's because make more money. That's where we've seen the last few years. A lot of stars from the WNBA either sit out seasons, regardless of the fact of they're not making enough money in the U.S., or there's just better competition overseas. And that's, it's unfortunate. WNBA always produces, great matchups. When the Sparks and the Lynx were going at it for the title for a few years in the row, the Mercury were also in it with the Sparks for a few years, and the earlier years as well with the Connecticut Sun playing for the WNBA title, the early years of Lindsay Whalen when she was with Connecticut pre her time with the Minnesota Lynx. I just like the fact that Diana Taurasi, nobody's going to say that she's overstepping her. Oh. She's way above her pay grade. No, nobody's going to say that. If anybody's going to say it, nobody's going to say it because she knows exactly what she's talking about. And if and when she does retire, doesn't end up owning a team or even, maybe making a run here at quite possibly running the whole WNBA quite a few years down the road, I would be very surprised if that doesn't happen. Got my stamp of approval.
Oh, absolutely. If you don't have a stamp of approval here, there is something wrong with you. Absolutely,
sexist.
100%. So, but, again, people all agree. So, anyway, great job, Voldy, as always, on ARA. And it's time for Shield shout-outs, but we got some really good ones, Voldy. I'm really liking the stuff you got, especially someone replying to your tweet. So I think we should get rolling here.
Shield shoutouts.
I just love the medieval setting there. I don't know why.
Fantastic.
Why didn't we think of that for the Sports Zone? I don't know.
No, I mean, that's a nice change of pace. It's something that I never thought of when thinking of Shield shoutouts, but fantastic job by you guys over there on that. That's great.
All right, Voldy, who we shouting out?
All right, we're going to start off this week. We do have something special in the books coming up here. I believe, are we going to debut this next week, Callahan? Maybe the week after with a new segment, maybe?
I think we should do it now.
Do it now. You want to do it?
I mean, if you want to do, we can tease it for them. Yeah. That's fine.
Let's do a little tease. So we'll talk about the fact of we got a new segment coming up here in the coming weeks. We'll nail down a time and then we'll make it actually happen. We're talking about Voldy's Vlogs. That's the new segment we got coming out here with the Sports Zone, and it's just whatever we want to talk about. It's kind of like Voldy's Virtues, but now it's just me from the Woods and Shores Studios in Aiken, kind of making something happen. Now, if you were following me on the socials medias in the past week, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We're going to be cranking up the spice a little bit with some spicy chicken wings. You were also following a creative consultant, executive producer, and head chef, Mrs. Sarah Ann Tewes-Voldy. You know exactly what I'm talking about with some spicy chicken wings. So we got to give a huge shout out to the creative brains from the Woods and Shores Studios of helping out with the debut of Voldy's Vlogs, which is going to be coming up here within the next couple of weeks for sure. Sent more information, yes, claps all around to the guys down in Granite Falls, and we're gonna have something really special coming up for you guys here in a couple of weeks.
Oh, absolutely! I can't wait. You guys are gonna love it. Okay,
you're
Voldy's Vlogs.
You're gonna laugh, and it's gonna be fantastic.
Let's go. Let's go. All right, next one.
All right, next one. We got to give a huge shout out. Friend of the brand, friend of the show, friend of the Shield. That being Cordero Patterson. Hashtag Fear the Dreads, Super Bowl 53 champion. This past Sunday, just scrolling through socials medias on the Twitter machines and finding a tweet that was very interesting of, Thad Moss signing with the Washington Redskins, and it was pretty funny to see. And I click on a picture that had Thad Moss and it said comparing to his father, and lo and behold, the graphic itself is not Randy Moss wearing a Vikings jersey.
Nope.
It's actually Cordero Patterson wearing a Vikings jersey. So I took that tweet, quoted it, tagged Cordero Patterson saying, "You must be so proud, hashtag spit and image, hashtag fear the dreads." He replies back with a crying smiley emoji and made my day, made my Sunday. I replied back, hashtag proud papa. Got to give a huge Shield shout out to the proud papa, that being Cordero Patterson, Super Bowl 53 champion.
If he wants to come on the show, he is
absolutely
more than welcome to. And if he wants to come back to Minnesota,
he wants to come back, we'll be more than willing.
We'll talk with Slick Rick. All right, next one.
Our next Shield shout-out, kind of going back to the NFL draft a little bit, talking about Bronson Recksteiner, who is a fullback out of Kennesaw State University, son of former pro wrestling legend Rick Steiner, and nephew, Big Papa Pump himself, that being Scott Steiner, signed an undrafted rookie free agent deal with the Ravens. For all those pro wrestling fans out there, carrying on with the Steiner brothers, Rick and Scott Steiner. Of course, Scott Steiner had the better singles run in his time, but seeing the next generation, and I don't know if you've seen any of his stuff, on social media, but he's not small. I'll say that. Bronson Recksteiner, he is a tank of a fullback, and sure he'll be hopefully make a splash with himself with the Ravens coming out with that undrafted rookie free agent deal. Also,
one more thing. Oh yeah.
Yes. Go ahead.
All
No,
right.
you go right ahead.
Mama Vold is frightened about Voldy's vlogs. By the way, I just wanted to let you know. So
Yep. Yeah. We're all worried, but we're all gonna have a nice laugh. It's all gonna be fun. It's all gonna be in good
it'll
fun.
be
But
in all good fun. Don't
it'll
worry, Jane. It'll be fine. It'll be
don't
fine.
worry, I'm still here. I'm still alive. It was previously recorded. We're all good to go. We're all good to go.
All right.
But
Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
yeah, we do have one more Shield shout out transitioning from one fullback to another. A happy retirement to Patriots fullback James Devlin, who announced his retirement on Monday unceremoniously. Unfortunately, yes, claps all around to James Devlin. Had to retire. He did get a neck injury that kept him out for the season this past year with the Patriots, a key cog in the running game for the Patriots last 7 seasons to set the tone out of the backfield. And, well, 7 seasons with the Patriots, 3 Super Bowl rings, and a happy retirement goes to James Devlin. I don't know if the Patriots running game is going to be the same after that. They're going to have to find another stalwart, fullback to help line up in the backfield for James White, Rex Burkhead, Brandon Bolden, whatever 37 running backs they want to rotate in a season. Sure. It's sad to see, but another great Patriot legend leaves the team and, is sailing off into the sunset. Unfortunately, not under his terms, but at least he can say that he was a winner in the end.
Right. Mike Allstott. Nice, easy.
Mike Allstott,
nice.
Yes.
They can't have CJ Ham, though. I'm just saying.
Yes, they can't. They cannot have him. No.
He's a Viking. Stay with us. So, is that it, Voldy?
That is it. I do have one note, actually, getting a message from Jimbo Vold, just letting everybody know here, if you're looking for any jerseys, he's going to be putting out a post here on Facebook a little bit later here tonight. And, if you are friends with Jimbo on Facebook, or just look for Jim Vold on the Facebook machine, and you can find him. He's got a profile picture of, I believe it's a Zach Parisi UND jersey. That's the profile you want to go to. Be sure to follow him, maybe throw him a like. If not, message him. Jerseys are up for sale. Various prices, shipping and handling is required. And give him a like, give him a follow, maybe friend requests, and maybe buy a jersey off him. He's got lots of them.
See what Nick's got down here? The
I did
sponsor strikes again. You're darn right. He's got jerseys. He's got the Zona T-shirts. I mean, Jimbo is killing it. He's killing it. And again, here's a look at our shirts. Okay, remember, we're still getting them in. Okay, Jimbo's working out the kinks here, but we should have them coming soon here. So just make sure to talk to any of us, including Jimbo as well, about getting a shirt. Okay.
Yep.
Because we want to give them to all the zoners, all of our fans. We just have to. We absolutely have to. So shout out to Jimbo as well as our unofficial sponsor. And then also another thing too, W2 Performance people, okay, check out Will Rattel's podcast. I just, maybe late next week, as Jimbo is saying here. So maybe, okay. We'll keep you posted. Jimbo has got us, okay? Nick, definitely getting one. And then you got to get one for my goddaughter too, Nick, okay? So, but yeah, check out Will Rattel's W2 Performance podcast. I think the last one I watched was the basketball conditioning. I mean, Will is so smart with this stuff, and there are some things I didn't even know. I was just like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. But basketball conditioning, should you do it, I mean, it was fantastic. Okay, so make sure to check out W2 Performance. We're going to keep sharing all of the content he's got, and of course, Will's already been liking our stuff, sharing our stuff as well. So it's just a great time right now, Voldy. So anyway, that'll do it for this Wednesday. I believe we'll be back next Wednesday. I don't know. I mean, we're still in
might
quarantine. Might as well, have some more fun and more content. And then, you never know. Have some guests and then have our T-shirts coming in. Oh, man, it's going to be fun. Let's do it. Great job, Voldy. And
yes, sir.
Great job to the Kerf Doctor as well for another great show. And we'll see you next Wednesday. And folks, remember, keep in the zone.
Holla.
Hey, what's up, Minnesota sports fans? This is former Minnesota Viking linebacker Chad Greenway. Just want to give a shout out to Matt, Paul, and all of the MinneZona crew. Catch them. It's a new podcast, MinneZona, all things Minnesota sports, live Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. on Facebook Live. Hey, Skol Vikes. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.